In this video we will review some facts about mythical creatures. But before we start, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for future updates. Mythical animals are frequently large and frightening to many people. People are fascinated by fabled creatures such as the Loch Ness monster, the Kraken, and dragons. However, few people understand what mythological animals are beyond the frightening legends that surround them. What are mythical creatures, exactly? They are supernatural monsters and fantasy creatures from folklore, stories, and myths. Some live in forests, seas, and even the sky. Mythical beings do not have to be large and terrifying beasts. In fact, each country will have its unique take on these legendary monsters. Some are little, while others resemble humans. Some of them aren't even monsters. Instead, they are mystical animals to whom people pray and worship. These folklore monsters can reveal a lot about the civilization from which they originated. As a result, there is a lot that people may learn just by studying them. If you want to understand more about mythical creatures, their origins, and what they seem like, keep reading for a list of mythical creatures. Akrabuamelu. Mesopotamia is the country of origin. Scorpion man and scorpion woman are two other names for the same person. The Akrabuamelu is one of Mesopotamia's fabled animals. Tiamat, the ocean goddess, produced half-scorpion, half-human people in Mesopotamian mythology. Akrabuamelu had a human physique from the waist up. Then they had the body of a scorpion from the waist down. In some versions of the narrative, this creature is a person with scorpion skin, pincers, or a tail. Tiamat's first creation was large enough to reach the heavens. They were powerful, quick, and skillful fighters. These characteristics aided them in carrying out their mission. Tiamat created him to aid her in her battle against the other gods. Banshee. Ireland is the country of origin. Other names: Banshee in Ireland, Bansith in Scotland, Fairy woman. Banshees are beautiful legendary creatures in most myths. A banshee is a lovely woman in a white clothing with long white hair, according to Irish mythology. In certain versions, she has flowing red hair. Her most distinguishing attribute, though, is her shrill voice. The shriek of a banshee is known as keen, or keening. According to folklore, a banshee's keening indicates a bad omen. If a person hears the screams of a banshee, it denotes that a family member or loved one will die soon. However, not all banshees are malicious. Banshees are said to visit families to warn them of imminent death in order to save a family member. They do it out of concern for their kin. Basilisk. Europe is the place of origin. Other names: Serpent King, Ancient Serpent, Cockatrice. There are many terrifying mythical monsters, but many people feel the basilisk is the most terrifying. The basilisk is one of the most well-known beasts in European mythology as one of the dark creatures. It also appeared in the Harry Potter fantasy series. This is most likely why there are so many different accounts of the basilisk's narrative. According to some traditions, the basilisk is little more than a tiny snake. Its scales, however, are covered in lethal poison. A person can be poisoned by even the slightest contact with its scales. In other traditions, the basilisk is a massive serpent with poisonous eyes. The basilisk's gaze will either immobilize or kill you. The legendary basilisk differs from the common basilisk. The common basilisk is a type of lizard native to Central and South America. Behemoth. Origin: the Middle East. Other names: the water ox, great beast. The behemoth is the next fabled creature on this list. The behemoth is one of numerous sorts of biblical beasts found in the Book of Jobs. Behemoth joins forces with Leviathan in the passage. They are chaos monsters that people should be cautious of. Behemoth is a large and powerful elephant-like monster that consumes grass. It is not frightened of water either. The term behemoth can also apply to something massive in size or force. This adjective derives from the biblical depiction of the monster behemoth. Bigfoot. Canada and North America are the countries of origin. Other names for Sasquatch. When people are asked about mythical creatures, Bigfoot is frequently mentioned. This is because Bigfoot appears in numerous stories. Aside from Canadian and American legend, Bigfoot appears frequently in pop culture. This mythical creature has appeared in a number of cartoons, television series, and films. Bigfoot stands on 2 feet and stands between 6 to 15 feet tall. His footprints measure around 24 inches long by 8 inches wide. It resembles an ape with gigantic feet since it is a massive and hairy species. Many people claim to have seen the Bigfoot. However, they frequently lack reliable evidence to back up their allegations. Researchers are still collecting data based on these sightings. Bogeyman. England is the country of origin. Other names: the boogeyman, the boogie monster, and the boogie woogie. Most children grow up hearing stories about the bogeyman. In Western societies, parents frequently tell their children frightening stories about the bogeyman. They do this in the hopes that their children will not misbehave. According to legend, the bogeyman would take mischievous children at night. While the bogeyman was said to eat children in some extreme stories. The appearance of the bogeyman varies from story to story. The bogeyman is typically a huge masculine figure dressed in a hooded cloak. The bogeyman has claws and vicious fangs in certain portrayals. Some portray the bogeyman as a demon or witch. Centaur. Ancient Greece is the country of origin. Other names for this constellation include Centaurus, Centaur, Kentauros, and Sagittarius. The centaur is one of the most well-known Greek legendary beasts. Many literature and films feature the centaur, notably the Harry Potter and Percy Jackson series. Centaurs are crossbreeds. They have a human upper body and a horse lower body. Centaurs were wild monsters that lived in the highlands of ancient Greece, according to Greek mythology. They were also superb runners and fighters. They are depicted as great archers in certain pictures. In Greek mythology, there are numerous noteworthy centaurs. Chiron, on the other hand, is the most well-known. Chiron is known as the wisest and most just of all the centaurs. He was skilled in numerous sorts of fighting as well as various disciplines. This qualifies him to teach the greatest Greek heroes. Achilles and Heracles were among his disciples. Chupacabra. Origin: Puerto Rico, Mexico, and the United States. Other names include El Chupacabra and Chupacabras. The chupacabra is one of the most terrifying legendary beasts. Chupacabras are legendary creatures native to Puerto Rico. Chupacabras is a combination of the Spanish words chupa, which means to suck, and cabras, which means goats. As a result, chupacabras literally means goatsucker. Chupacabras are vampires according to tradition, thus this is a fitting name. They suck the blood of goats, cows, and other livestock instead of humans. The appearance of the beast is described variously in different versions of the fable. According to some legends, it resembles a wild dog. In some depictions, the chupacabra resembles an alien lizard. Cyclops. Greece is the country of origin. Other spellings: Cyclopes, plural form. Another fabled creature from ancient Greece is the Cyclops. The word Cyclops is derived from the Greek word for round eye. Cyclopes, as the name implies, are massive animals with only one eye. This enormous eye is perched on the Cyclops' brow. Cyclopes are important characters in Greek mythology. The Cyclopes brothers created Zeus' thunderbolt weapon in one of the epic poems. Cyclopes were shepherds encountered by Odysseus in Homer's Odyssey. Dragon. China is the country of origin. Other names include Chinese dragon, lung, long, and lung. Dragons are the most well-known Chinese legendary creatures. The emperor liked the Chinese dragon during imperial China. As emperor, he would use it as his official insignia. This is because the dragon symbolizes auspicious power, strength, and good fortune in Chinese culture. Dragons were the yang or masculine spirit in yin and yang. Chinese dragons, unlike Western portrayals, do not have wings. They are enormous reptiles with snake-like bodies and 4 legs. These fantastic creatures are typically depicted by artists in brilliant colors such as red and blue. Dibic. Eastern Europe is the place of origin. Dibic is also known as Dibicum, plural. Most legendary creatures are frightening because they are large and have animalistic characteristics. Meanwhile, Dibicum are frightening for a variety of reasons. Dibicum are cursed spirits in Jewish mythology. They wander the planet aimlessly and can only pass on after acquiring a human body that will assist them in achieving their final objectives. If the host is possessed, an exorcism is required. Otherwise, the Dibic will remain in the host until they have completed their unfinished business. Demonic possession is also widespread in other civilizations. Each tribe has its unique exorcism ritual. Fairies. European countries are the countries of origin. Other names for fairies are fae, fae, and fair folk. Fairies are often at the top of the list of fantasy legendary beings. Fairies are mythical entities that occur in several civilizations. Fairy myths can be found in French, German, and English folklore. Most fairy tales show small winged creatures with the ability to fly. They are similar to pixies or spirits who adore nature. As a result, people believe they have green clothing and hair. Fairies are frequently mischievous creatures that resemble humans. They do, however, have magical abilities that they frequently employ to cause havoc. Puck is a well-known example of this in literature. Puck is a treacherous sprite in Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. Tinkerbell from Disney's Peter Pan is another example. Fawns. Ancient Rome was the place of origin. Other names, none. Fawns are legendary beings in Roman mythology. They are hybrids of half human and half goat. Their upper bodies are human, yet they have goat legs and tails. They live as natural spirits in woodlands. The term fauns is derived from the name Faunus. Faunus is the ancient Roman forest god. He possessed horns and ruled over ancient Rome's lands. Mr. Tumnus from the Chronicles of Narnia is an example of a faun from popular culture. Allura from the Spyro video games is another example. The satyr is a faun's equivalent in Greek mythology. The satyr is a half-human, half-goat hybrid. Ghoul. Pre-Islamic Arabia is where it all began. Other names, none. The ghoul is yet another well-known legendary creature. A ghoul is a monster who inhabits graveyards. Ghouls ate human flesh, according to Arabic mythology. They do not have a fixed form. They would often disguise themselves as beautiful women in order to entice unsuspecting travelers. According to folklore, ghouls can only be killed with one strike. Striking it twice would just resurrect this terrible beast. The ghoul appears in numerous films and works of literature in popular culture. One such example can be seen in the popular anime series Tokyo Ghoul. Gnomes. European countries are the countries of origin. Other names for this creature include garden gnome and dwarf. Many people regard gnomes as only decorative figures in their gardens. Gnomes, on the other hand, are mythological beings from European folklore. They are little, hunched-back creatures. Gnomes are earth spirits who guard mines and other treasure-filled locations. Gnomes in modern conceptions are similar to the dwarves in Disney's Snow White. As a result, they are frequently shown with brightly colored clothing. Goblins. European countries are the countries of origin. Other names for goblin include gobelin, goblin, and dokaibi. In European folklore, there are numerous legendary creatures. The goblin is another example. A goblin is a little evil monster. They resemble fairies, but they are frequently greedy and cruel. They are fond of gold and jewelry. As a result, stories frequently warn of goblins who will take from you. These mythical monsters are known as dokaibi in Korean folklore. This name means Korean goblins. Dokaibi take on various physical shapes. They do, however, frequently wear hanboks or traditional Korean clothing. Goblins appear frequently in modern literature. Marvel Comics, for example, uses the villain Green Goblin to make a reference to goblins. Golem. Origin city, Prague. Other names, none. Another mythological creature from Jewish folklore is the golem. Golems are enigmatic creatures. They start out as inanimate objects or entities, like clay statues. The golem can only come to life once someone performs a charm or rite. According to some legends, the golem is the ideal servant. His only goal is to serve his creator. The most well-known golem narrative comes from Prague. A rabbi from Prague built a golem out of riverbank clay in the 16th century. The rabbi commanded the golem to guard Jews against hate crimes. According to certain versions of the story, the golem could become invisible and call spirits. Gorgon. Ancient Greece is the country of origin. Other names, none. Gorgons are legendary beings that occur in the earliest Greek myths. Gorgons are immortal beings with snakes for hair. The Gorgon's gaze is lethal. Making eye contact with the Gorgon or any of the snakes in her hair will turn you stone instantly. There are three well-known Gorgons in Greek mythology: Steno, Uriel, and Medusa. Medusa, unlike the first two sisters, was mortal. As a result, the demigod Perseus was able to behead Medusa. Even though she was already dead, the severed head had the power to turn people stone. Griffin. Egypt and Persia are the countries of origin. Other names include Griffin, Griffin, and Hippogriff. The griffin is one of the most majestic legendary creatures ever. A griffin is a hybrid with a lion's body, rear legs, and tail. Meanwhile, the other half of its body is made up of eagle feathers. It possesses the head, talons, and wings of an eagle. Legend has it that the lion is the ruler of the animal kingdom. An eagle is often known as the king of the birds. As a result, a griffin was a particularly majestic beast. The griffin is a well-known figure in both Asian and Greek culture. Griffins laid golden eggs in their interpretations of the story. Kraken. Norway, Denmark, Greenland, and Sweden are the countries of origin. Other names, none. When it comes to fabled sea creatures, sailors are more likely to fear the kraken. The kraken is a massive marine creature that resembles an octopus. The kraken is said to stalk the oceans of Norway and Greenland. The kraken possesses massive tentacles that can pull entire ships beneath water. The kraken can also split these ships in half in some portrayals. Some people do not believe in the kraken. They believe that any sightings of this beast are of huge squids or octopuses. However, this fabled creature has inspired a great deal of literature. The kraken, for example, features in Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean films. Leprechauns. Ireland is the country of origin. Other names, none. Leprechauns are legendary creatures in Irish folklore. They are bearded dwarf males. The majority of portrayals show them in a green suit and hat. They are frequently naughty creatures who enjoy gold and other forms of jewelry. People equated leprechauns with rainbows in modern stories. Leprechauns, according to legend, hide their pots of gold at the end of a rainbow. These species would rather be alone. In some stories, though, leprechauns capture humans. 3 leprechauns drag the King of Ulster while he is sleeping in the narrative of the King of Ulster. They nearly drowned him. The monarch, however, awakens and gains the upper hand. In exchange for their freedom, the leprechauns grant him 3 wishes. Leviathan. Mesopotamia is the country of origin. Other spellings, Leviathan, Hebrew name. The Leviathan is another example of a biblical legendary beast. Leviathan is an ocean-dwelling monster. The Leviathan is mentioned in the books of Job, Isaiah, Amos, and Enoch. A passage regarding the Leviathan can also be found in the Psalms. Each of these chapters describes the Leviathan in a unique way. Psalms, for example, presents the Leviathan as a serpent with many heads. Other verses merely refer to the Leviathan as a huge sea monster. Leviathan is frequently depicted as a dragon-like monster in modern portrayals. It is a creature created by God to demonstrate his strength. Finally, God slaughtered this monster as nourishment for the Hebrews. The Loch Ness monster. Scotland is the country of origin. Other names, Nisig, Nessie. The Loch Ness creature is a sea monster that resides in the Scottish Highlands Loch Ness. Drawings of mythical creatures frequently differ due to the artist's interpretation. Most people believe, however, that the Loch Ness monster has a long neck and one or several humps on its back. Many people claim to have witnessed the Loch Ness monster. However, there have been numerous hoaxes. There have been no confirmed sightings to date. Tourists still go to Loch Ness in the hopes of seeing the monster. The Loch Ness monster has also appeared in films and books. One famous example is the mention of this sea creature in the Twilight series. Mermaid. Origins, Europe, Asia, and Africa. Merman, merfolk, and merpeople are some of the other names for merpeople. The mermaid is one of the most well-known legendary creatures. Mermaids are human beings with fish tails. Mermaids are typically depicted as females in stories. However, mermen appear in some recent stories as well. Mermaids can be good or malevolent depending on the culture. Mermaids are associated with sirens in Greek mythology, for example. Sirens are sea creatures whose alluring vocals entice and deceive sailors. Mermaids are marine creatures who can bless humans in some cultures. They are similar to water nymphs who can fall in love with humans. The Little Mermaid is the most well-known mermaid story. This is a Christian Andersen fairy tale that has been adapted for various films and television shows. Minotaur. Ancient Greece is the country of origin. Alternative names, Minotaurus. Many mythological creatures are human-like hybrids. The Minotaur is another example. The Minotaur is a mythical beast having the head of a bull and the body of a man. Minotaur, according to folklore, is the son of Pasiphae and a bull. Minos was given a bull to sacrifice by the deity Poseidon. Minos, on the other hand, did not sacrifice the bull. Poseidon cursed Pasiphae to fall in love with the bull in rage. As a result, she gave birth to the Minotaur. The Minotaur inhabited the heart of Minos' labyrinth. The hero Theseus eventually found his way through the maze and slew the Minotaur. Oni. Japan is the country of origin. Other names include yokai and Japanese ogre. Popular characters in anime, film, and theater are generally mythical beings from Japan. The Oni is one such example. The Oni is a type of orc or ogre with horns on top of its head. Onus are a subspecies of yokai. Yokai are spirits that can be either benign or bad in Japanese folklore. Onus typically wear brightly colored clothing and carry a kanabo club. A kanabo club is a traditional Japanese weapon. It is a two-handed war club with spikes or studs running the length of the body. During feudal Japan, samurais utilized this.